So you said that you started to watch Soul, but you didn't finish it. Have you
Yeah.
finished it, or
No,
did you still not finish it?
still
Okay.
no.
Well, since you've seen a
I
little
did
bit
not
of it,
because I can't take the movie seriously.
we're still going to talk about it because, you know, into the animation portion. So, review. That movie was great. It was fantastic, and I have a quote from a person who I was on a podcast with that I mentioned. I think either the last episode or episode before that. His YouTube channel is called This Episode Is About. Um, I was talking about how Soul didn't feel like how Pixar movies usually feel, which is like children's movies but that adults can also enjoy. He said, and he basically said, let me see if I can find the exact quote. He said, Soul feels like the opposite of what they usually do. Instead of kids movies that adults can like and enjoy, it's a movie for adults that kids can handle and sit through. And he is absolutely right because there are so many jokes, and even the premise and like children's movies have like a lesson to be told at the end of it. The one in this one was so abstract and obscure, a kid would never understand it. This movie was not made for a kid to understand. This movie was made for adults to understand and sympathize with, and for kids to be able to just enjoy without really understanding it. Because there are so many jokes a kid wouldn't understand as well. It's just this movie doesn't feel like it was made for a kid, for adults to enjoy. It was made for adults, and kids can enjoy it as well. There was one problem that a lot of people had with the movie. That well, first let me talk about my initial problem that I had and why I wasn't going to watch it until I started to hear some of the reviews, the positive reviews, and it was because I was immediately like, and I still agree with this. I should have said spoiler alert at the beginning, but I haven't spoiled anything yet, but I'm about to spoil it. But I don't like the idea of like a black character not being able to exist in their own skin. They always turn into some animal. In this case, he turns into both a soul and an animal. So I'm like, bro, why can't he just be black for like the entirety of the movie? I want a character like magical stuff can still happen, but they can still look like this. With their magical abilities and stuff like that. Like, they don't have to transform into a completely different creature. That was my biggest problem. But other than that, another problem people were having was that they felt like there's a character named 22 who is a soul. And basically, when he goes to try and get back into his body, his soul goes into a body of a therapy cat while his body's in hospital. And 22 goes into his body. And the problem people had was they felt like it was like a white person going into his body and living a better life than he did, when that wasn't the case. Because 22 is a genderless, raceless soul. Even though she's voiced by a white woman, they literally make a joke about it, saying that the reason she uses a white woman's voice is because it's annoying and she does it to annoy people. Like, the idea isn't like she's supposed to be a white woman in a black person's body. She's supposed to be this random soul. What's the word? Why does this always happen? I forget words and names. Speaking, she's supposed to be experiencing. That's the word I'm looking for. Experiencing life for the first time because she's been avoiding it for thousands of years. Well, I think she said exactly 1,000 years. I'm saying she, but it doesn't have a gender. They have been avoiding it for thousands of years, and it wasn't that they were living his life better than him. It's that they made it clear that his focus all the time, no matter what, was always music. And that he felt like that was his purpose. So he never asked anyone else about themselves. Whenever he had a conversation with someone, it was always about music. Even several of the characters say that. But 22, because I keep saying they are so curious, and this is their first time on Earth, they ask people questions, and they ask people about themselves. And because of that, people are being a bit more open to Joe, because this is the first time he's asked them about themselves. And the first time he sat down and tried to understand them, rather than him just telling them all about himself. The only people, and those were people that he's cool with, but not necessarily really close to. But when it comes to all the people that he's really close to, like his mom and her friends, he took control and told 22 what to say. 22 didn't go in there and like fix the situation like she did with the two other characters. With those three people, he took control because those are people he knows and he knows how to talk to. And that situation was resolved because of what he said, not because of what 22 did or said. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that movie. Other than that, it's just really good. I disagree with that criticism, like I just said, and my only criticism is that, you know, um, whenever they make another black movie, a Pixar movie starring a black person, don't turn them into an animal or a soul or something else. Just let them be black. Let them be black. You don't have to turn them to a creature. Just let them exist in their own skin.